Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. So today was a day that I was actually supposed to upload a video. However, because I've been dealing with some hand issues, I wasn't able to edit the video I was supposed to edit. Ice pack. So I decided instead to talk about this stuff happening that's been going on throughout the week, because, or not the week, even the week, but the weekend, because we know that, again, there was another incident. And a lot of people we're just not okay. That's the best way to put it. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about community healing. This is probably going to be I hope I didn't just delete the notes I took, because that would be really bad because I can't write. So I took my notes on the phone, and it looks like I just deleted everything I wrote. Please tell me I didn't. Yes, I did. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So I wanted to go over a couple things that we need to do and as a community to make sure that we are healing, to help us through the healing process. And the first thing we always need to remember is that it's okay to be wherever we are, because a lot of time when these things are going on, especially we have the grief that's happening, we have the anger that's happening, there's the anxiety, that there's a lot of different feelings. And it's important to remember that whatever the feeling is, wherever you are, it's okay. Whatever your emotional response to the situation is, it's okay that you're having that emotion. All feelings are okay. What's not okay, or what's not always okay, are the how we choose to deal, or how we respond or react to these feelings. Meaning that it's okay to be angry, but taking your anger out on someone else, or taking your anger out on wherever, may could get you in trouble. So feelings are okay. However, not all actions are okay. That's one of the important things that we have to remember. As a community, it's important for us to be able to come together and grieve together. This has been a lot of stuff has been happening. And this weekend, after this weekend, one of the things that a lot of people are angry and saying, not again, another time, not one more time. But yes, it keeps happening. But as a community, we have to take the time to heal through that. We have to take the time and address. It's not, sometimes it feels like people are looking at it more as this is, oh, somebody liked it. Hi, welcome everybody that's here. And thanks for the like. Um, so it's okay to have whatever we're having. We need to come together. We need to take the time to heal and grieve. It's not just because this happens all the time that sometimes people will say, oh, we're used to this by now, we expect this. One of the things that a lot of people have been saying is, well, the person did this, and somehow the suspect was arrested without a scratch. We know these things happen. Yes, they are infuriating. Yes, they make us we have all sorts of reactions to them. However, that doesn't mean that we we should allow that to be commonplace, that we're treating these things like, okay, they happen every day. Each time they happen, they hurt. Each time they happen, they they cause a reaction, and we have to take the time and deal with that. A lot of times what I see people doing, which I when I saw the news this weekend, I did see a lot of people congregating and just being together. That is an important step to take, especially after you've had such a terrible thing happen in a small community like that. It's important for everybody to come together and heal, because it gives you an opportunity to let it out. It also gives you and the others around you permission to let theirs out. because sometimes people feel like, well, I need to be strong, I need to this, I need to that, but all of that does not allow you to heal. Taking the time to have that moment, come together as a community to heal and cry if you need to, pray. It's important to be able to take a moment and find your zen, whatever that is. Whether it is that you're taking a moment to pray, whether that you're taking some time to meditate, and definitely, I cannot speak enough about exercising, making sure that you're taking care of your body, because when we are going through a trauma, whether it is a personal trauma or a community trauma, like this, like the situation that we're in now, it's important that we're still doing all the same important self-care stuff, because our bodies are processing what just happened, and it's important that we have the right nutrients, the right fuel, the right energy, giving our body the energy to carry us through this experience that we're going through. So making sure that you're taking your time, you're getting your sleep, you're getting your regular, your healthier diet, meaning your colorful diet, stuff that, stuff that came off trees. So making sure that you are eating, fueling your body to help you, to help carry you through and help you deal with all that is happening. I'm using this hand a lot because I can't use this one, so my bad. Um, the other thing to remember is that children, even though you think that you don't talk about this at your house, you're not exposing your children to it, you're not this, all the stuff that you think that you're doing to protect or keep this from your children, children have more resources than you know. Children hear, children see, children know. So making sure that as we're doing whatever it is that we need to do to take care of ourselves, that we're also taking time to look, to check in on the children. You're not gonna necessarily go and tell them, hey, this happened. Try to have conversations with them to help you figure out what they know, figure out, find out if they have questions, answer questions that they may have, provide that reassurance, because these things are, they they threaten our norm. And just as adults, when these things happen, we may be experiencing anxiety and all sorts of emotions. Children also have those same things, and as adults, there are resources that we have to help us process that children don't have. So by taking time to check on children, it allows them to, an opportunity to get some help dealing with and processing and addressing the stuff, whatever it is that they may be going through. So make sure that as part of taking care of, as part of healing as a community, that we are taking time to work and check on and help the children deal with this as well. The other thing, I really wish I didn't just delete my notes. That's why I write on paper. Um, the other thing to remember is that while I say we have a tendency to be temporarily or situationally outraged, and that's, it lasts a moment. Using the energy, because these situations tend to raise a lot of different emotions, we get a lot of energy, a lot of stuff, a lot of motivation come out of these situations, but they often end up being short-lived. One of the best things to do with all that energy, all that anger, all that outrage, or whatever those feelings are, is to use them for good. A lot of great organizations, a lot of great institutions were started by people who channeled their anger, channeled their hurt, channeled their whatever their emotion was to something positive. Examples I could think of. What is it? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That was an organization that was started by mothers who lost children, mothers who whose families were impacted by drunk drivers. There's recent there's the mothers of victims of violence. There are all these organizations that have been started by people whose families were impacted. Instead of just sitting on the emotion and just letting it out, letting it fade and until the next thing, find ways to do something while everyone is motivated, while everyone is thinking, while everyone is eager and ready to do something, while everyone feels the need to do something. Find engage in stuff. One thing that I know, especially I know Black community is very big on having vigils. It's great to have vigils. It's an opportunity to remember and pray and just come together as a community. But sometimes it helps to also have a call to action. Not We don't just need to come in and have a vigil and pray. Okay, this we've done this. We prayed, we cried together, but what are we doing next? Where do we go from here? Having a call to action, because people will definitely show up whenever you're having a vigil, especially when the thing is fresh. People are engaged, people are interested, they are showing up. So while people are showing up, it's important to capitalize on this opportunity. It's hard to get people to sorry, sometimes it's hard to get people to show up just for whatever action item you may have, but they'll show up for a vigil, they'll show up for a protest, they'll show up for a march. While they are there, use that. When you have a captive audience, use that. One I often say I don't usually go to a protest. I don't usually go to marches. If I'm there, usually there's another motive. And I will tell you, I I've attended I probably could count on my fingers the number I've attended, but those were the best places to get petitions signed because people were engaged, they were focused. If there is something you're working on for your community, when you have them right there, for whatever reason they came out, that's the best time to do something. So instead of just having a march, having a vigil just for people to come together, add another purpose to it because it's not easy to get people out. The other thing to remember is that we have to consistently find our Zen. These things are happening all the time. As much as we may hate to admit it, it's yeah, they're happening way too often. As much as we would like to stop it, there's not a way. We can't legislate hate. We can't put laws in action to make people not hate. What we can, however, do is place get legislate what happens next. A lot of times people do things because they figure that they're not afraid of the consequences. One thing I often say, I say a lot of things, but I often say that people do the right thing because they are good people and want to do the right thing, or because to avoid the consequences of not doing the right thing. Those are the only two reasons. I don't care how nice, how wonderful, how whatever a person tells you they are. There are two reasons people do the right thing, because they are the kind of people who want to do the right thing, or because they fear and don't want to have to deal with the consequences. So if you don't whenever you're dealing with the other group that other than the people that are doing it because that's what they feel is the right thing, we have to have ways to ensure that that other group that fear consequences or that want to avoid the consequences know that there are consequences. A lot of times when these things happen, people get to go home. A lot of times these things people engage in these actions and they get to go home. It's up to us to ensure that our communities are protected, that our government is protecting us, that there are it's not just that there are laws, because there are tons and tons of laws, but that the laws are being enforced, that people are that people have to think twice before engaging in certain actions. That's the issue, because a lot of times people engage in whatever, people do whatever it is that they do because they know that, yeah, it's okay, I can do this, and at the end of the day maybe I'll get a slap on the wrist, or maybe they won't even know, maybe nobody will care. But when we make sure that our community, our government, is looking out for us, then people will think twice. And that's one way to ensure that we're reducing these things. And one thing we do with that momentum that happens every time one of these situations happen is to advocate and engage and work to make sure that these things are happening, that our communities that are elected representatives understand that, hey, this is important to me. We need to start using these act right sticks. Right now, I am pretty sure that in the coming weeks, in the coming months, there are going to be loads and loads of vigils. But are we making sure that part of the vigils are going to be that we are having, and yes, your elected representatives will be there because they like the spotlight. They want to show up and be like, yeah, we're with you. We're with you. This is wrong. This is awful. But what are you doing about it? If they believe this is wrong, if they believe this is not supposed to happen, what are they doing to ensure as a deterrence? What are they doing to make sure that people will think twice before engaging in these actions? Just thinking that, okay, well, I might get arrested if I go up and do what this guy did. But that's that's not enough. We need there to be enough. We need people to realize that, yes, you are going to get arrested, and yes, we are going to ensure that the justice system provides justice. Because how often do people get up and do these really awful things, and at the end of the day get to go home? Part of healing is ensuring our future. Part of healing is creating a system that prevents the same stuff from continuing to happen. It's hard to move forward. It's hard to really truly heal when you just kind of waiting for the next situation to happen. Instead of just waiting for the next situation to happen, it's important that we're taking the time to do something to prevent the next situation from happening. Other thing to remember, I say this all the time. Every time there's one of these events, I say this. Stay away from that constantly reliving the situation. There will be videos. The media loves to sensationalize these things because if you are watching, they are getting ratings. If you are watching and they are and they have a captive audience, they have no problem showing you over and over the same thing. However, every time you watch the same clip, that anxiety is building, that feeling, that anger is building, whatever that emotion is that you may have experienced that first time, it's just magnifying. But it doesn't, they don't, I don't want to say they don't care, but they don't care. They don't. They're the role of the media is to more get more eyeballs and more ears on their content. So if you are sitting there watching it, they will continue to show it to you. It's up to you to protect your peace. It's up to you to protect your space. This idea that we are honoring the victims by continuing to, no, you're not. Honoring the victims is taking care of yourself. Honoring the victims is going out and doing something to help to contribute to your community. Honoring the victims is not sitting there reliving the same trauma and being re-traumatized by it. So yes, limit your intake. That trauma is not good for you. And one thing that tends to happen is as you take it in and you take it in, the anger builds, the anxiety builds. And then you go from, you thought you were just watching something, now you're feeling it. Now you're out, you go outside and you're angry for no reason. now your side or your head starts hurting for no reason. These are all reactions to the trauma that you're taking in. So making sure that you're limiting how much of this that you're taking in is important. Okay, so I talked about checking on the children. That's important. Making sure you're taking care of yourself. You're giving yourself time to grieve as a community, talk to each other. And one great thing to do is service to the community, because sometimes we take care of ourselves, but there are others in our community who are not in the position to to do what it is that they need to to heal on their own. So reach out to people in your community who may be struggling. We often forget to check on each other. Yes, come out together, come out, have as a community, and grieve and share and pray and talk and start the healing process. But also remember to engage in service. Service gives you an opportunity to do something outside of just sitting. It allows you to be a little bit more active. It makes you feel like you have more of a purpose. So engaging in service could be something as simple as, somebody that was impacted, check on them. Somebody who may need something, ask, hey, how can I help you? The families of the victims, the friends of the victims, how are we making sure that they're okay? And it may be that there are people who are not even involved, who are distantly connected, who may still be impacted, because what trauma does is that it triggers past trauma. So someone who may have nothing to do with what's going on right now could be triggered by the situation, and because of that, they may have a completely different experience. They may have a very emotional, a stronger reaction than one would expect. So making sure that we're checking on each other. It's important that we're taking the time and doing that, because a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are hurting. And one of the things we can do to help as a community is that we're reaching out to other people. If you notice someone is not, and this we should be doing all the time, and I often talk about that. If you see someone is not exactly the way you're used to them being, check on them. Reach out. What is going on? How are you? What can I do? How can I be of service? Those things are important. They help the person heal, and it helps the community heal, because it reminds that person that they're not just out there by themselves, that they are here as part of a community, that there are other people out there who care about them, who are, yeah, it's all part of building community. So making sure that we're checking on people is also very important. um I really wish I hadn't deleted my notes, but I think I have covered um everything I wanted to discuss. Okay, I'm trying to being one, making sure that we're taking time to grieve, and that we're giving ourselves this time and space to be human and take care and address stuff. Making sure that you're finding your zen space, because this is a lot, that trauma, that anger, whatever the feeling that is that you're feeling, that feeling is okay. However, not all actions are okay. So just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you get to act. Okay, just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you just get to go out and act on that feeling. Making sure that you're fueling your body, making sure that you're taking care of your body, that you're giving your body the nutrients, that the fuel that it needs to carry you through as you heal. And of course, making sure that if you need help, get the help. These things are traumatizing. These things are painful. These things elicit a lot of emotions. And these things are very, very triggering. So as you're going through all these things, making sure that if you need help, that you're getting it. If you have children in your life, making sure that you're reaching out and checking on these children, because just as adults, we're not okay. Children are also not okay, because no matter how tight a ship you think you run at home. Your children know what is happening. Your children are aware of a lot of things that are going on. So making sure that you're checking on them and giving them an opportunity to ask questions and be um yeah, and if they, yeah, giving them an opportunity to ask question if they have if they have things they want to know, if they just, if they need to process whatever it is that they know or whatever it is that they may have overheard. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know, I see there are a couple people, but everyone's been so quiet, so I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, as always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that is more than you can handle, especially right now when things are super chaotic, make sure that you figure there are, remember that there are professionals who are available, able, and willing to help, and are even providing remote services. So make sure that you figure out who those people are in your community, so that if you need them, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.